Hi, SAT students. I'm going to make a video to help you with the hardest part of the SAT test, the vocabulary, okay? The math and the writing and the reading and all that kind of stuff. You can improve slowly, but the vocabulary is definitely the thing that takes the longest, okay? So this should be a series of videos. I'm going to try to help you as much as I can. If you go to the comment box below, you can get review sheets from today. This is word list 1. So that you can get this review sheet and the answer key from the comment box. As well, I'm going to make for you, or I have made for you, these flashcards, okay? So try to have fun. The vocabulary in SAT tests is really daunting. So do your best, study hard, work, and if you can get some fun out of it, do that as well. So hopefully the flashcards can help you. The word list that I'm going to go through slowly is from Barron's, okay? This is my old copy. This is the 25th edition. The 28th edition is out now. The 29th edition should be out in the fall usually. But it doesn't matter what edition you have. They typically have the same or very similar vocabulary lists in all their books, okay? So you can get it and you can look at the answer key anyways. So the entire list will be here on the answer key. And I'm hoping this video will take about 20 minutes, okay? So let's start. First word is going to be abate. Abate, okay? I gotta find it first. Abate, okay? So abate means that things lessen and lessen, okay? Now we don't usually use it for things like money or something like that. We can't say my money is abating. But we usually use abate for things like in nature. And like we'll say the wind or the storm is slowly abating, okay? Or the rain is slowly abating. We also use it with problems with your body. So if you have a headache, but you take some medicine and then 1 hour later you're like, oh, you can say my headache is improving, or you can say my headache is abating, okay? It means that your headache is getting shorter and shorter, or lesser and lesser, okay? Or aches, your back ache. You say the pain is abating. The next word, abbreviate, okay? Abbreviate means that you're making something shorter, okay? So, for example, if you have the word, the phrase I would, you can make it into a contraction. You can abbreviate it, say I'd, okay? This is an abbreviation, something that's kind of shorter than anything else. But you can also use the word abbreviate as a verb to just say that something is going to be shorter than the original. So if you want to go camping for 10 days, but it rains and rains and rains, and then you decide after 5 days to go home, you can say, I abbreviated my camping trip, okay? This also means that you made it shorter, okay? The real question is, why is abbreviate such a long word? If abbreviate means to make something shorter, why is this word so long? The next word, abdicate. Abdicate means that you are giving up on your responsibility. Okay, so that you're not going to do what you should do. It's typically used for the king or the queen, okay? So if the king hates his job, or if he's in love with somebody else from a different country, maybe he will abdicate his job, okay? So we often say he abdicated the throne. Let's say the king abdicated the throne, the chair that he sits on. You can say he abdicated the kingship, all that kind of stuff. But you can also use the word abdicate to say that you don't do your responsibility, okay? So maybe a father has some children and he runs away. You say he's abdicating his responsibility. A father should be paying for those kids, right? And teaching them and playing with them and all that kind of stuff. So if a father does that, we'll say he abdicated his responsibility, okay? You, as a student, don't abdicate your responsibilities, okay? Do your homework. Study for the tests, okay? The next word is going to be abduction. Abduction means kidnapping, okay? And abduct means kidnap, okay? So that's the verb. Usually we use this in a passive sentence. So we usually say he was abducted by somebody, by the bad guys, okay? But you can use this in an active sentence. You can say, he abducted a child. Okay, it's kind of bad, but it's the same as he kidnapped a child. The abduction was talked about in the newspaper, like this, okay? So it means kidnapping, grabbing somebody and stealing them, basically. So this is called an abduction. alien abduction. Woo! The alien ship beams me up to their ship. I was abducted by aliens. Okay, passive sentence. Not true. The next word is aberrant. Okay, this is a hard word. Aberrant. It's usually used in the same way the word strange is used, but really in very narrow situations. Okay, so we often use the word aberrant behavior. It just means he had like really strange behavior. If someone said like, "Hey, that guy has some aberrant behavior," probably means I don't want to be near him. Like maybe he's a little bit dangerous or a little bit too strange to be close to. Okay, so we say aberrant behavior, or you say that was a really aberrant action. Somebody you can't explain why they did it. But if you are going to go to university and you're going to do something with a lot of numbers, you can also say like, oh, we did the test 10 times, but one time the numbers were very aberrant. Okay, here it means that like 9 times the numbers were like what you predicted. Okay, but one time is like totally wrong. One time. You can see I'm not a math teacher. I can't do the fingers properly. But yeah, you say that number was aberrant. Okay, so like, you know, if you're counting something, if you're studying how many pandas are in the wild, and you're expecting to see 50, and this time you see 47, and this time you see 53 and 52 and all this kind of stuff. But that one time you only saw 12. You say that number was very aberrant. Okay, it's kind of like strange one that you can't explain. Next is abet. Abet. Okay. Usually we say A abets B. Okay. So it's usually 2 people and stuff like that. The meaning is that somebody's helping a bad person do something. Okay. So if your cousin steals money from the bank, and then one day you hear knocking on the door, they're like, hide me, the police are looking for me. And you're like, oh, cousin, hide under my bed. You are abetting him. Okay, you are kind of helping someone do something bad. In this situation, you probably should phone the police. Okay, don't abet bad people. The next one is abhor. Okay, abhor is one of those words in English. We have many. That means hate. Okay, I abhor tomatoes. Means I hate tomatoes. Okay, but my example is a little bit funny. You should use this for a really serious thing. Like you can say, I abhor war. Okay, so it's similar to words like hate, despise, loathe, detest. All of them have the same sort of meaning. Okay. The next is abject. Abject. Abject means horrible or wretched or very poor sometimes. Okay, so sometimes we'll say abject poverty. There's a collocation, okay? A collocation where 2 words are kind of stuck together. So we say abject poverty means horrible poverty. Really, really no money, okay? Struggling to eat. We say abject suffering, abject hopelessness. Really, anything that you say abject, the noun next to it is going to be very kind of sad word. Abolish. Abolish is one of the easier ones in this list. I hope you know it. Abolish kind of means like banning something or outlawing something. Okay, you can write those words here if you want to remember them together. Abolish slavery. Abolish anything bad. Abolish some weapons. Okay, so it means you get rid of them. The government would make a law against them. The next, abominable. One of my favorite words to say. Okay, abominable. Despite it being fun to say, it's actually a bad word, okay? It's very similar to the word despicable, if you know the movie Despicable Me, okay? So abominable, if you say his behavior was abominable, it means it was horrible, terrible, that we should hate his actions, okay? So if you see someone and they push an old lady, we'll say his actions were abominable. His actions were terrible. So we say abominable behavior, abominable action, or even say he is abominable. He was, she is abominable. It means really we should hate them. Detestable, if you know that word as well. Yeah, terrible. The next, Aboriginal. Aboriginal, an Aboriginal person. Okay. Aboriginal person is, in Canada, we would say First Nations. Okay. Native American, that kind of thing. Yeah, so people who are originally from an area. So you see the original in there, okay? Aboriginal. So for Canadian First Nations, they were here before Europeans came, okay? So Aboriginals. The next, abortive. Abortive means that there's a plan, but the plan gets stopped in the middle, okay? Some of you might know the word abortion, okay? Abortive here, like, for example, if a rocket is going to the moon, like this, but the computers say that one of the rockets has a problem, maybe they will go up and they're like, hey, there's a problem, and then they will slowly and they'll come back to Earth. Okay, so that trip to the moon was aborted, okay? An abortive trip like this, okay? It stopped in the middle. Abrade. Abrade means that something is worn away, okay? If you fall down, maybe you're running in a park and you fall down, you would say the rocks abraded my knee, okay? But it means like the skin has come off, okay? So abrade. But you can also say like the ocean will abrade the cliff. That works as well, okay? And the next word is abrasive. Abrasive is the adjective for abrade, okay? But we do use the word abrasive a little bit differently as well. You can also say like his personality is very abrasive. And that means that the more you're with them, the more you kind of don't like that person. Maybe in the beginning you think, oh, this guy's kind of fun. But then the person talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. And then after 20 minutes, you're like, I got to leave this person. You'll say his personality is very abrasive. It means that the more you're with him, the more you don't like his personality. You can also say his manners or his personality. Yeah, his manners are very abrasive. Like maybe someone who's not very polite. The next is abridge. Abridge means you make a bridge, but we use it for books, okay? So maybe there's a book that's 1,000 pages and most people don't finish that book. Maybe the company who made the book will make a shorter version. So instead of 1,000, they'll make a 500-page book. That book is called the abridged story or the abridged book, okay? It means that they take out some chapters that are not necessary or some details that are not needed in the book. So the words you usually find with abridged is usually just stories and books. So you say that story is abridged or the book is abridged, okay? But as well, I mean, sometimes the long one will say unabridged. This is the unabridged version of this book, okay? The next is abscond. Abscond. Abscond means that you run away, like when the police are looking for you, okay? So you abscond from the police, okay? You can abscond from, you can abscond to Mexico, okay? So that's where you're running to. You can also abscond with something. So if I steal the Mona Lisa, put it underneath my arm, run away from the police, I'll abscond with the Mona Lisa to Mexico, something. I don't know. You get a boat. So yeah, this is abscond with. Abscond to, like this, okay? Abscond from the police. Maybe you abscond and then your friend will abet you and hide you. Okay, I can already see this video is going to be much longer than 20 minutes, but hang in there. I'll do my best. Absolute. We say absolute. It means you have complete control or 100%, that kind of thing, okay? So if you say like the king has absolute power, it means that what he says happens. Okay, kings a long time ago were like that. There's no real rules. The rules were only what the king said. So he said he has absolute power or absolute. That king is absolute, okay? But sometimes it means certain, certainly. Like whenever you say certainly, you say absolutely. Is your name Daryl? Certainly. Is your name Daryl? Absolutely. Okay? So yeah, absolute is sometimes certain, okay? Absolve, absolve. There we go. Where? It helps if I find it. There we go, absolve. Absolve means that someone gets forgiven or pardoned. So if someone is in jail, but maybe many people think the person did actually something very good, maybe the prime minister or the president will absolve them from their crime, and they can leave prison, okay? So Nelson Mandela was in prison for I think 27 years in South Africa. But we all knew that, the world knew that, you know, he was actually just trying to help people. So when he eventually got out, you can say, you know, the leaders of South Africa absolved him from his crimes. He probably wanted the 27 years back, but anyways, he was a great man. Absorb. This is what a sponge does. A sponge will absorb the water. Okay. Now, if you can also say absorb, like you say, oh, that little boy learns languages very well. You say he absorbs languages. Okay. Now you can also say someone is absorbed in something. So you say, oh, she's absorbed in that TV show. You're like, hey, Michelle, and just TV. Michelle is absorbed in the TV show. Okay, it just means captured by the TV show. Not when you're studying for the SAT, okay? Anyways, I'll try not to scold you guys too much. Abstain. You should abstain from TV. Stay away from it, okay? Abstain from something means that you should not do it. Maybe if you are too heavy, the doctor will say, you should abstain from candy, okay? Abstain from alcohol. Abstain from drugs. It's all very common, okay? Now, when you say abstain from, if you do the verb next, you have to have ing, okay? So you can say abstain from beer. Also, or you can say abstain from drinking beer, okay? If you have a verb, you're going to need the ing. Yep. Abstemious. Abstemious is an adjective. So you can say very abstemious. But it's usually somebody who resists something, who abstains from something. If we just say his diet is very abstemious, it means like maybe doesn't eat anything bad at all. You know, no fatty things, no sweet things, nothing unhealthy. If you hear someone who's like, oh yeah, I never eat meat, you say, ooh, that's a very abstemious diet, okay? They've decided to stay away from something. So abstain and abstemious, you can kind of think of them the same way, except abstain, verb, abstemious, adjective, okay? Abstinence. Abstinence, again, means you abstain from something. Abstain and abstinence is very similar, okay? So all three of these in a row are very similar. You can have you can have abstinence from something. So abstinence from fatty foods. Okay, you stay away from it. The next, abstract. Wow, we're slowly getting through this. We're on page 3. Abstract. Abstract is something that you can't touch. Okay, so for example, you can touch a computer, you can touch your nose. But you can't touch friendship. You can't touch love. You can't touch hatred. So friendship and love and hatred, these are abstract things, okay? Things that you can't touch. We might agree what it is. We know what friendship is, but we can never touch it or buy it or something like that. These are abstract ideas, okay? Things that all humans kind of agree that they exist, but we can't just walk in the park and find these things. They're abstract, okay? The next word is abstruse. I like this word, abstruse. Some of these words are a little bit abstruse. Abstruse means that something is hard to find or scarce. Sometimes the meaning is more like hard to understand. So if you go to a philosophy class and then you don't really know what they're talking about, and they're like, wow, they're really smart people. They say, wow, this conversation is very abstruse. In this case, it means that like it's very deep meaning, and you don't know where it's going, stuff like that. So we'll say very abstruse. Oh, I tried to read that book, but it was too abstruse. Okay, too hard to understand what's going on. The next, abundant. I'm almost at the 20-minute mark, and I'm like halfway through the words. Abundant. Abundant means there's lots of it. Okay, so there are trees. Trees are abundant in Canada. Okay, hydrogen and helium and all that, they're abundant on Earth. Gold and diamonds are not. because gold and diamonds, because they're not abundant, they're expensive. Okay, if people could just go to the park and find diamonds, they would not be expensive. Okay, so abundant. Abusive. Okay, the word use is in here. Okay, US, but it should be USE. Abuse. If you put an E there is the verb. Ab means negative, so you're using something in a negative way. Okay, so if I have my phone, but I'm using it to hit nails into wood, I'm abusing my phone. Okay. It's using the phone in the wrong way. Plus, my wife will be angry, okay? But abusive, if you say he is abusive to somebody, you say that man is abusive to his children, it probably means he hits them a lot or he says bad things about them. This is someone who's abusive. If your boss is abusive at work, says bad things about you, makes you work and do terrible things, you can quit your job, okay? This is abusive. And if abuse with the E, abuse is the noun with an E. Abuse also is an E, okay? So be careful. The verb and the noun are the same spelling, but different pronunciation, okay? So if abuse, the noun, is too terrible, then you can phone the police, okay? So yeah, abusive is using something in a negative way. Abysmal, okay? Abysmal means another word for terrible, okay? So if you take the SAT test and you fall asleep for the last hour and a half, probably your score will be abysmal, okay? It means just terrible, terrible score, okay? This word abyss and abysmal, I guess there's probably a relationship here. An abyss is a big, big hole. So you say the jellyfish swam into the abyss. It means it went down into the deep hole in the ocean, okay? So maybe that's where your grades went. So anyways, an abyss is a big hole in the earth or something like that. Not necessarily in the ocean, but maybe. Academic. Academic is a word you should know, about school and all that kind of stuff, right? However, it does have a second meaning. If we say like that topic is very academic, it means that it's kind of stuck in school, okay? So if you have a very abstruse conversation, maybe people in university will do that a lot, but it's not really helping anybody in the real world, okay? So maybe it's nice if you know how many moons that Saturn has. It's a bit of an abstruse fact. And maybe it's very academic. It doesn't change people's lives. Okay, it's wonderful if we can figure that out, but it's very academic. Okay, what's inside of the atom? I don't know. There's a few things in there. Does it change people's lives? Maybe, but maybe that fact is also academic. Okay, maybe stuck in university. I'm probably just going to make some science people angry, but I apologize. I'm just trying to think of good examples. Good. We're on to the second page of the big master list. Okay, accede to something. So usually you accede to a demand. Okay, in this way it's similar to the word accept. Okay, accept or agree to something. Okay, so if someone wants to buy your car, you think about it for a day or two. Their price is okay, then you can accede to their offer. You can accept their offer. Okay, with the word accept, there's no to there. Accelerate, it means go faster. Your car. And the opposite is decelerate, okay? And the nouns, acceleration, deceleration. I feel like I'm going fast here. I'm accelerating the speed of which I'm talking about these words. Accentuate, the next word, accentuate. Accentuate means you emphasize things. Emphasize. I accentuated the M, okay? If I think something is very handsome on my face, if I think my eyes are very handsome or something like that, I might blink a lot. I'm accentuating my eyes, okay? So if you're a guy with big muscles, maybe you wear a shirt that's all the way up here and you're accentuating your muscles, okay? You're kind of like, hey, look at my muscles. Look at me muscles, everyone. I'm trying to accentuate the best part of my body, okay? But you might also accentuate things in your homework as well, okay? Like I've discovered this, and you try to accentuate the part where you did lots of work. The next word is accessible. Accessible just means easily able to be accessed, okay? So if your password, your email password is 12345, I suggest you change it. That password is probably too accessible. Yeah, so, but if you are in a wheelchair and there's just stairs everywhere, you might say, oh, this building, I don't like this building. It's not very accessible, okay? Next, accessory. Accessory is something like earrings or rings or necklaces, even hats or something like that. Something that you think is kind of like a fashion thing, but you don't need it. Pants are not accessories. Jackets are not accessories, okay? All of the normal type of clothes things. But if you have rings or bracelets, these are accessories. A brooch, if you know what a brooch is, these are all accessories. There's a verb, you can say accessorize. She likes to accessorize. It means every time she goes out, there's different necklaces or earrings or that kind of stuff. Acclaim. Acclaim. Yay! It can mean applause or praise for something. She received acclaim for her great movie. He got acclaim for his new book. Okay, it means lots of people liked it. The next word, acclimate. I keep forgetting my paper. Hey, we're on page 4. That's wonderful. Acclimate. Acclimate. There's only 5 pages, so we're getting there. Acclimate means you get accustomed. Oh, acclaim. Acclimate. You get accustomed to something or you adjust to something. But specifically, the word climate is here, right? So Canada is a fairly cold country. Not always. Today's beautiful, but Canada generally is kind of cold. If you go from the Canadian winter and you go directly to a hot country, if you go to Fiji, maybe the first couple days you're just sweating because you need time to acclimate. You need to acclimate yourself to the hot temperatures. Okay, but it can go in the opposite as well. Someone from Fiji comes to Canada and maybe they're shivering the whole time and they need some time to acclimate. But we even use this word as well. Like if someone gets a new job, but they don't know where everything is. Okay, in the old job, where's the printer and the photocopier? Oh, it's over there. But now they don't know how to use this new printer. So they need time to acclimate themselves to their new job. Good, acclimate. The next word is accolade. It's wonderful that these two words are on top of each other because they're very similar. Acclaim and accolade. You can receive acclaim and you can receive accolades. Okay, this one's not going to be countable and this is countable. So you can receive accolades. He received accolades for his new book. And if that seems similar to the above sentence, that's on purpose. Okay, their meaning is very similar. Ooh, accommodate. Accommodate does have quite a few meanings. Okay, accommodation usually has something to do with beds. Okay, so I went to New York and I had great accommodation. If I stayed with cousins, it means that the room that they gave me or the bed that they gave me was wonderful. If it's the hotel, that means the hotel was wonderful. Okay, so that means good accommodation. The hotel accommodated me very well. It would mean like, yeah, my stay there was excellent. Now, accommodate might also mean adjust. Okay, so if someone's very, very busy, but I want to have a meeting with them, I say, oh, please, my aunt is very busy. So I say, oh, please, I want to talk to you. Let's go for lunch one day. And she goes, oh, my schedule is really, really busy. And then she looked at her schedule, but like she goes, I can accommodate you on Thursday. It means that she's moved things around and she's tried to make things fit for me. Okay, so she's accommodated me in her schedule. Accommodate can also mean like help somebody as well. So yeah, someone tried to help somebody, they accommodated them. So if you come to my house, and then you say, oh, we have no alarm clock. Please wake me up at 4 a.m. I will try to accommodate them. I will try to set my alarm clock to 4 a.m. and wake them up and all that kind of stuff. So you're trying to help them. Accomplice. Accomplice. We're getting there. Accomplice. An accomplice is someone who helps you. But it's not a good thing, okay? An accomplice is not a good thing. It's someone who helps you with crime, usually, okay? So if 5 people rob a bank, and one person's slow and the police grab that guy, but 4 people abscond from the police, they will talk to that one guy. They caught that one slow guy and they're like, who are your accomplices? Tell us. Who are your accomplices? They're the bad guys who helped you do the crime. Accomplice, it's a good word for crime movies or the newspaper as well, okay? So who are your accomplices who helped you do it? Okay? Next word is an accord. An accord is a treaty, okay? An agreement between countries. An agreement with countries that maybe 2 neighbors share a river, right? And they say they'll have an agreement that says you can't pollute that river and you can't take too much of the water out. And then they sign it and they say, we sign the accord, okay? Or they'll, according to this accord, we can't take all the water from the river, okay? So an accord is like a treaty, an agreement, okay? The next words, I gotta flip the page. Be very excited. We're on page 5, okay? My 20 minutes thing was totally wrong though. Apologies, all apologies. Acerbity. 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 Okay, I've heard a few times this pronounced poorly, so acerbity, okay? An acerbity, acerbity, something that's, sorry, is talking about the sourness of something, okay? Bitterness. If you say his attitude is full of acerbity, probably should stay away from that person, okay? It's someone who's not friendly, okay? We'll put it that way. So there's sort of kind of like negativity in their thing, okay? I don't like him. His acerbity makes me angry, like that, okay? You also say acerbic. Acerbic is the adjective for that one, okay? Yeah, even sometimes it kind of means like hatred and fighting and all that kind of stuff, okay? So if you say that their relationship, those 2 countries' relationship is full of acerbity, it means that they're kind of fighting, okay? So acid in it, bitterness in it, all that kind of stuff, okay? Acknowledge, acknowledge, there's knowledge in there. Acknowledge is similar to the word admit, okay? So if the police grab the slow guy, maybe he will acknowledge who was his accomplices, okay? He will admit, my accomplices were Trevor, Oscar, Henry, and Frank, okay? So he acknowledged, he admitted who his accomplices were. So this is admit, okay? Admit. But sometimes the word acknowledge can be a good thing, okay? If someone gives me an award, they're like, oh, thank you for this award. I know I'm the #1 actor in the whole world. I'd like to acknowledge first my family. I'd like to acknowledge my friends and my manager. And this is like telling everybody that they're good, okay? That you like their name also to be famous with your name. So acknowledge has a couple meanings, okay? Acme, acme, we got about 8 words left, okay? Acme, acme means the peak or the zenith. Some people say zenith. The top of the game, okay? So if you say Michael Jordan was at the acme of his profession, it means he was at the top, okay? Maybe in 1996 or something, okay? So he was at the pinnacle of his career. Acoustics. Acoustics is talking about the sound quality, okay? So you say this room has great acoustics. I didn't know. Maybe your shower has great acoustics. Sing in the shower. If you like it, please do it. Yeah, so maybe a lot of rooms in your school, maybe you have good acoustics. The music room, I hope. Now, if you take the S off and just have acoustic, you'll have acoustic guitar. Okay? And this means it's not an electric guitar. But acoustics typically talks about the sound quality of a room, okay, of a place. Okay, next, acquiesce. Acquiesce. This kind of means that someone agrees to something. However, it's usually something that they maybe are a little bit reluctant to agree to. So for example, if my kids ask me for candy, I'm like, no. And they're like, please, no, please, no, please, no, please, no, please, no, please, dad, please, dad, please, dad. And I'm like, okay. I will acquiesce to their demands. I will acquiesce to their demands. So it means that I kind of yield to them, submit to their demands, like that kind of stuff. Okay. Acquire. We're down to 5. Count them, 5 more. Okay. Do your best remembering these. You have to write quickly. Acquire means obtain. Okay. Most of the dictionaries will say acquire means get. I don't really like that definition for acquire. Okay. Get. I mean, I went to the store and I got some candy. It's very easy. I just walked and I paid money. Acquire and obtain is the same, okay? Because it means that you got something, but it was hard to get, okay? Getting a perfect score on the SAT, I acquired it, okay? I obtained it. Is a really hard thing to do. Finishing university and getting the degree, oh, I finally acquired it, okay? It took 4 years or 5 for some people, okay? So it means you got it after a long time. An acquittal, it means something quit, okay? What quit? Usually a court case, okay? Maybe there's not enough evidence. So if someone is in front of the judge and they maybe get an acquittal, it means that the judge stopped it, okay? The judge said, no more court case. You're free. You're a free person. You're a free man. You're a free woman. You can go. So this is the acquittal, okay? Yeah, so if you are innocent, that would be a great thing. If you were guilty, then that's bad. Good for you, I guess still, but bad for society. Acrid. Hey, 3 more. Keep going, guys. Acrid. Acrid is usually used to describe smells. Smells that are really strong. They're not necessarily negative, okay? So like coffee has a very acrid smell. Smoke can have an acrid smell. If you ever go to a really, really old barn or something like that had hay in it for a long time, it can be a very acrid smell. If you have a really old book, it can have an acrid smell as well, okay? That book's fine. I've had it for a long time, but that book is not bad. But if you go to a bookstore and there's an old book section, that area can have an acrid smell. Pungent is another word you should know. Okay, it's kind of a synonym for acrid. Acrimonious. Two. I have 2 more words to talk about. Next is acrimonious. It's typically used to describe relationships, okay? So something bad between 2 people or 2 parties or 2 countries, okay? So we say their relationship is very acrimonious. They fight a lot, okay? If though you say those 2 countries are very acrimonious with each other, it means, yeah, they fight. You say those 2 people, their divorce was very acrimonious. A lot of fighting, a lot of lawyers, that kind of stuff, okay? And last one is acuity. Great, acuity. It means that something is really good and really sharp, but please remember, acuity is typically only used for your 5 senses, okay? So we'll say like he's 80 years old, but his hearing acuity is still good. It means his hearing is still really good. A lot of 80-year-old people can't hear very well, but his hearing acuity is very good, okay? Acuity of vision is also common, okay? It just means that these things are still working well, okay? Okay, so I hope your brain is working well. Do your best. That was the first 50 words. Took longer than I wanted. I'll try to either speed up or whatever. If I can help you at all, please let me know. If you're still not clear on some of these words, I did go over them very fast. Talk to me in the comment box. I want to help. The SAT vocabulary section takes a long time, okay? So hopefully you're starting a year early. 9 months, okay. 6 months, you got to work really hard, okay? So this book has a list of about 50, I think 50 word lists, which in the end, I think will have thousands of words, but I'll do my best to help you. Take care. Be good students. Bye-bye.